Superstars have rough seasons all the time. It's so hard to be as consistent as you can be, and for one disc golfer, it seems like the time for a rough season may have arrived sooner than we thought. Paul McBeth, to some the greatest disc golfer ever, to others the persona who brought them into disc golf in the first place. McBeth has been unstoppable at points in his career, until now. He's had some bad tournaments in the past, but never a bad year. Time to get into it, time for me to show you guys how I was right about Paul McBeth. Here we go. Before we can hop into McBeth's season, we need to jump back to January 31st, where I made a little predictions video for the 2023 season. I'll tell you right now, if you go watch it, it's probably not going to age well. Once the season is over, I'll revisit it, and we can all laugh about how terrible my takes are. But I do get to toot my own horn for a minute, because I was right about one thing, and that's Paul McBeth. To pretty much sum it up for my McBeth's predictions, here's what we're looking at. Upon his tour schedule announcement, McBeth is taking a large chunk of his season to head to Europe and play events there and finish it off at the European Open. Then head back to the US. Now, I acknowledged in the video that at the end of 2022, McBeth does have a win at New World, which was a Silver Series that counted towards this season, but I'm not counting that win in my predictions. The next thing I said, and now this is what we're going to be focusing on, is that McBeth will only win in Europe. Now, based on that, he still has a really good chance to win a major, the European Open, which he got second in at last year. Making that prediction, I just had a feeling that the rising studs in the game were going to shine this year, that maybe the return of some injured players would overshadow McBeth. That was my thinking behind predicting McBeth to only win in Europe, which means I didn't believe he would win in the US, especially win at the World Championships. That was the biggest shocker, since for the past 10 years, he's either won the event or finished in second place. It was a bold statement, one that I felt could be right this year, but was not on anyone's radar when it comes to the greatest player in disc golf. So, how's Paul's season going so far? McBeth set out to play 6 events prior to heading to his European swing on tour. Like most players, he started out at the Las Vegas Challenge, a 6th place finish to start the year. After that, he headed to Waco to defend his title from 2022. He didn't get the job done, finishes in 13th place for the event. New event, Open at Austin, saw some really interesting moments, and McBeth was not part of it. 10th place finish, 2 top 10s in 3 events. Now, these next 3 events, this is where things start to drop off. McBeth finishes at 25th at the Music City Open. Not that big of a deal as we head into the first major of the year. Maybe he's taking it a little bit easy as he tries to redeem himself at WR Jackson. Nope, he comes in at 20th place for the Champions Cup, his worst finish at a major since 2019. Finally, one more event for McBeth before heading to Europe would be Jonesboro, an event where just the year prior he lost in a playoff to Calvin Heimberg. Wasn't close to a playoff this year, finishes in 15th place. Now, some of you may be speculative. This is a small sample size of his year so far. How can you really tell how his season is going? Let's go to 2022. In his first 6 events, McBeth had 1 finish outside the top 10, 2 second places, and 1 win. In 2021, for the first 6 events he played, he had 6 top 10s, 2 podiums, and a win. 2020, last year we're going to look at, he has 6 top 10s, 3 podiums, and a win. I think 6 events is more than enough to look at and see not only is McBeth having a bad season, but it's much worse than you think when you compare it to his past results. But as my prediction states, I think he will win in Europe. Time to see how McBeth fared when he made the jump over the pond. As the Disc Golf Pro Tour headed west, McBeth would travel the opposite direction to Europe. Time to test his talents against some of the best Europe has to offer. His first event would be the Estonia Open. He would have a good showing in the first round at 8 under par, tied for 6th place. But after that, it was all downhill. Dropping spot after spot, once the event was over, McBeth would finish in 31st place. The disc golf world was really, and I mean really, confused. Nothing towards the European talent at all, but most of the stars from Europe are playing on the US tour. So everyone kind of thought McBeth would smash. But 31st place, yeah, it wasn't looking good. He had a lot to prove for his fans, that's for sure. So when the Pro Forester event happened next, everyone kind of had low expectations for McBeth. Maybe he took that personal because for the first 2 rounds of the Forester, he would have the tournament lows. 10 under in round 1, 9 under in round 2, which gave him a 5-stroke lead over second place with just 1 round to go. Jakob Semerad would be chasing him down, but would it be enough? Hole 6, here's McBeth on the tunnel shot.
Bring the forehand for these touchier shots in the woods. Paul going pretty much for the perfect looking shot here, almost acing the hole, just comes up short and just outside the bullseye.
Hole 11, after having a bogey on 10, he tries to make it up.
The tree that he hit is very commonly hit trees in the middle of the line that you would naturally throw with a flat shot on this hole. That's why I need to throw this perfect hyzer flip from showcased by Paul McBeth.
Hole 12, another sweet looking hole out on this course.
It's also just perfect if you can keep it straight and not turn it over to the right side woods.
Paul's backhand shapes the fairway beautifully, slides right up to the pin, absolutely parked.
It was just too much of a deficit for Semerad to really do anything. McBeth also shot the second best round of the final day, so not much you're going to do. Glimpses, moments in this tournament where the McBeast came out. Wasn't perfect like we have seen him before, but it was more than enough to get his first win.
His first European win of the 2023 season. Locks it in with a fantastic birdie with a round score of 10 under par. An absolute champion.
After the Pro Forster would be the Konopiste Open, where after the first 2 rounds, McBeth would be in second place, 2 shots behind Nicholas Antila. After Antila bogeyed the first hole, he came out roaring, making 7 birdies in the next 8 holes. Same thing on the back 9, he was tearing up the course. Meanwhile, McBeth just couldn't get anything going. If it wasn't a bad putt, then it was an errant drive. Hole 13, easy turnover shot, and McBeth leaves it out on the left side with a dicey downhill putt.
Just laying up for the par. Let's see what Paul does. Just pulling it to the right, unfortunately. And you can see the slope away and the elevated basket. Already taking 3 birdies on this back 9.
And Paul just low now on the comebacker.
After that, wasn't much he would do. He drops back 4 spots from where he started the day to finish at 6th place. A closer chance at this event, but in the end McBeth couldn't get the job done and walks away without a win. The most recent event McBeth has played in was the Swedish Open, again battling with Nicholas Antila. Antila had a 3-stroke lead to start the final round, but quickly that went away as he made some mistakes and McBeth capitalized. McBeth started to turn it on in a way that we hadn't seen yet. He was incredible. Birdie after birdie, slowly through the round he took over. With 5 holes to play, McBeth had a 2-shot lead. Hole 14, Nicholas threw an awesome turnover shot in the rain, parked for the birdie to catch up a stroke. Hole 15, here's McBeth on the tee.
Let's see if Paul can do it with the backhand. No, he doesn't. And the big kick left goes OB.
After Antila made par, they were all tied up. It would come down to a putting battle. As hole 16, Antila had to make a huge putt just to match McBeth. Same thing on 17. Both players in range for the birdie. Here are the putts.
Difficult putt here. Bangs it in the middle. The wind has actually died down for a bit. And gets it. Bottom.
Hole 18 is a very tricky par 4. Antila would turn his drive over just a little too much, going out of bounds. McBeth throws an amazing drive to the safe side. Antila would have to make some shots to tie him. It came down to a throw-in attempt for Antila that would come up short. Here's McBeth on the layup putt. Just needs to 2-putt for the win.
Then walk away with the victory.
Oh! Paul McBeth.
Swedish Open champion, Paul McBeth!
A lot of people thought McBeth would dominate the European swing, but that just hasn't been the case. He's had a lot of ups and downs in some cases. In others, he's really shown himself to be pretty good against the European competition. As it stands right now, 4 more events in Europe, then he heads back to the States for 7 Elite Series events. It may look like he's halfway done with his season, but the truth is he only played 1 major championship. 3 more to go. That's where he really shines. Up next for him is the European Open, where I expect him to fight it out again like he did last year. It's hard to predict exact tournaments, but you have to favor him for playing European-style disc golf for this long heading into that event. After that, of course, he heads to Worlds, where at Smuggler's Notch, McBeth is really good. For me, it was hard not to predict him to win, but I just feel like his streak of top 2 is going to come to an end. Maybe I'll be wrong. I'm rooting for him to win, like I always do. It's just the way competition is changing. How is he going to keep up? As my original prediction stated, as long as he doesn't win one of the 7 US events he plays in, I will be correct. Like I said, at the end of the year, once everything is all wrapped up, I'll make a video about how bad my predictions for the 2023 season were, but I have a feeling, when I look back, my Paul McBeth take is still going to be doing good. I don't know, I guess you'll just have to tune in and see. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. McBeth's year certainly has been interesting, but does he still have a good chance for the rest of the year when it comes back to the States? As always, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, all that jazz. If you want more videos like this, then check out the channel. You can also go check out my predictions video for the 2023 season and see how, well, poorly that is going. Alright, we'll see you next time. Cheers.